This is Suma Rowjee of Cakes and More, and this is the video series Baking for Beginners. And since we are going to be doing a lot of recipes from now on, I thought I could share some simple tips on how you could actually get ready, the prep part before you actually start baking anything. Do stock up on all basic ingredients. It's more helpful than you think, because it's not really fun to run to the store every time you need something, and then that may be the thing that will stop you from trying out something. I do hope to make a video about the basic ingredients, but until then you could also read this post on my blog. Of course, you'll need some basic bakeware, and if you haven't got your bakeware yet, please do get it. And here is my video about basic bakeware. Your tools and gadgets, of course, you will need all of them. Do invest in your basic tools and gadgets because they can really make a lot of difference. So once you have these things in place, then you need to figure out what you really want to bake. And given the huge sea of recipes around you, figuring out what you want to bake would be the first step. Please do read recipe reviews wherever possible so that you have a fair idea about what to expect and any variations you could make. Halve recipes wherever possible, and you could always double the recipe for the next batch. Do take a printout of the recipe you plan to try, and in case you're planning to halve the recipe, then you could first halve the weights of all the ingredients and then take a printout. Do make note of any changes, like even oven temperature. This can really help, and a conversions chart here can be of great help to you. Underline anything you need to quickly spot in the text on your printout so that you can spot it quickly. It could be dimensions, it could be the consistency of the batter, or the time you need to knead the dough for. Have a pen handy. It's easier to tick off ingredients you have weighed or measured. It's much easier than navigating screens on your iPad with a sticky finger. This is particularly useful when you have kids running around and one loud scream and 2 thuds later you're not very sure what's sitting on that heap of flour. Is it baking powder or baking soda, or it could be both. You could also make note of your baking time and any changes you would want to try out in the recipe the next time you bake it. Do read recipe instructions very carefully. Read the recipe twice, and in case the recipe involves any techniques, then it really helps to watch a video which demonstrates the technique. Do prepare your pan ahead even before you start mixing the batter. This really helps because you do not want to keep your batter waiting as it deflates and then you go searching for the pan and then start preparing it. You could also prepare your pan the previous day if that helps you. Always line up your ingredients on the counter before you start baking. This really helps. You will not miss any ingredient, nor will you go wrong with the measurements of the ingredients. You could also pack the weighed out ingredients like cocoa powder or flour or toasted nuts, etc. You could just weigh them and then put them in small Ziploc covers and then put them in one big bag. Write down the name of the recipe you plan to try so that you have all your ingredients weighed out and measured out ready for you so that you can bake when you have the time. If your eggs are stored in the refrigerator, do keep them on the counter at least an hour ahead so that they come to room temperature when you start baking. If your recipe needs cold butter, it's alright to cube the butter, weigh it and then keep it in the fridge so that it's already weighed and cubed when you want to bake that pie or that tart. Always weigh the dry ingredients first and then the wet ingredients so that you do not need to unnecessarily wash your weighing bowl when you weigh the wet ingredients first. And if you're going to be weighing egg whites for a recipe in order to whip them, then it's always better to weigh the egg whites first and then the yolks. All ingredients should always be at room temperature, simply saying they should not be either hot nor cold unless the recipe specifies that this particular ingredient needs to be hot or cold. Chopped up dark chocolate, toasted nuts, shredded coconut, and even pan liners, the parchment which we use to line the tins. All these things can be staples in your kitchen. Keep them ready always so that you can bake on a whim. Always remember to preheat your oven before you start mixing the batter. You do not want to keep the batter waiting because it may then deflate and then give you a really flat cake. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you'll come back for more tips and recipes. Please do leave your comments and suggestions for me. I'd love to hear from you. Please do let me know what you would like to watch on Cakes and More. I shall try my best to come up with that.